Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I've already published my spoiler-free reviews of A Study in Scarlet and The Sign of the Four. I've linked you can go and check out both of those videos if you're interested. I'm reading this series in the chronological order that was published, and so this is the next one in the series as a whole. It's a collection of 12 short stories, and by far, from the three things that I've read, this is my most favorite, okay? I said in my first two reviews itself, I'm a very character-driven reader and I was not able to latch to either of the two main characters. But trust me, just after reading like one or two short stories in this one itself, I'm very much attached to both Sherlock as well as Watson together, and their friendship is something which I envy and like a lot. So definitely this was a very surprisingly beautiful read for me. I enjoyed it the whole time. Each and every one of the 12 short stories were very different and so unique in their own. And the different touches that the author has given for each and every story was very subtle and so cozy to read. So without any further ado, let's get into the various sections of the review right away. First, talking about the plot. Since it's a short story collection, the plot varies for each and every one of the 12 short stories. And also one thing which I liked a lot was that each and every short story stood on its own. You need not read any of the short stories in order to understand the others. And also you can read them in any order. It doesn't mess up the experience of reading the book at all. Another thing which I noticed was that it is not necessary to have read both A Study in Scarlet as well as The Sign of the Four in order to read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, because this doesn't spoil anything from those two books. And also I'd recommend you to start with this one because this is far better compared to those two. And also if you want to read them in the chronological order, I'll say there's only one advantage if you ask me, and it is the development of the characters. Here you'll see Sherlock and Watson as really good friends. You'll be able to get that vibe from them really easily. But in the first two novels, it's not that clearly seen. At least for me, I did not feel it at all. This one was super legit, okay? It's almost like a bro TP. I just enjoyed their banter a lot. That friendship is something which is really nice and just so solid that you cannot deny it at all. It was really nice to read about. There is something about their friendship. They trust each other and adore each other as well as admire each other in some way or the other. And also talking about the plot of each and every short story, it is really strong. Most of the time I was not at all able to guess what's going to happen, and I was not at all able to unravel the mystery. It's also not like a pattern that we see in the first two novels. In the first two novels, we have major revelations happening in the flashbacks, but here it is not at all like that. There's no flashback, so you can definitely go forward and read it. I enjoyed it the whole time, and the plot in this one is just 100% solid and perfect for people like me. Moving on to the characters, both of the main characters in this one are extremely well written, okay? I just enjoyed each and every moment with both Sherlock as well as Watson, because the points of view which we get from both of them is totally different and totally unique. We see the same things that both of the people are seeing, but in completely different ways. The way in which Sherlock was so different and so unique was that his observant qualities, okay? He is so very observing, and you will not be able to predict what Sherlock is thinking at all, but just by seeing you, having a glance at you, he can just observe you completely. He can dismantle each and everything that you're wearing into parts and just tell everything about you very, very easily. I'm sure if I go and see Sherlock, he'll be able to say that I'm a book nerd, he'll be able to say that I'm working in the IT, and many other things about me, because his deduction is to such a granular and perfect extent for me personally, and I just loved it the whole time. Another nice quality which I liked about Sherlock in this one is that he is a bit arrogant and adamant when he has to do certain things, but he does not give up to consider different scenarios while he's working out a plan. He sees the best outcome as well as the worst outcome, and he tries to balance both of them while he's working on his case. He doesn't go forward and tell people that he can do this completely. He says that it is highly probable and he can do it, but he does not reveal anything until he's like 100% sure. And his sense of humor in this one was also super cool, okay? I was not at all expecting this to happen. In A Study in Scarlet, it was not at all that much evident. When it came to The Sign of the Four, there was like a hint of humor here and there when it came to Sherlock, but in this one the guy is hilarious, okay? I'm sure if I see a screen portrayal of Sherlock in this mode properly, I will totally enjoy it, and I did enjoy it the whole time. And also his trust on Watson, it is just like the 100 emoji, okay? It was just so perfect. That's this small excerpt from the book which Watson uses in order to describe what Sherlock is doing while he is going to his meditative state. I'll just read it out to you guys. It was like a perfect chunk of explaining how Sherlock goes into the process of deducing things. So now I'll read it for you. Now this excerpt is from the short story The Man with the Twisted Lip. It is definitely one of my favorites from this collection, and it goes like this. It was soon evident to me that he was now preparing for an all-night sitting. He took off his coat and waistcoat, put on a large blue dressing gown, and then wandered about the room, collecting pillows from his bed and cushions from the sofa and armchairs. With these he constructed a sort of eastern divan upon which he perched himself cross-legged with an ounce of shag tobacco and a box of matches laid out in front of him. In the dim light of the lamp I saw him sitting there, an old briar pipe between his lips, his eyes fixed vacantly upon the corner of the ceiling, the blue smoke curling up from him, silent, motionless, with the light shining upon his strong-set aquiline features. Now, the writing of the author itself in this one is really poetic and very, very beautiful, okay? Just describing that scene of how he goes into that trance in order to make his deductions was really awesome, okay? I just underlined that whole thing, and I'm sure it is going into some of the notebooks which I'm having, because I just loved that small chunk of the story which just added a great amount of flavor for his character as a whole. Now moving on to Watson, the reason why I read that excerpt for you guys is to show how well a narrator Watson is, and we get the entire story of Sherlock itself only from the point of view of Watson, and it was really a great decision if you ask me. I don't think there would have been any better point of view in order to experience this story from. We have just two characters. Even if it was from Sherlock's point of view itself, it might have been a bit frustrating and boring at times, but while getting it from Watson's point of view, it was totally enjoyable and unpredictable most of the time. You just saw that scene which I read, right? It was very atmospheric. You'll just be able to see what's happening in front of you, and giving all those various layers to Sherlock's character is only done through the point of view of Watson, which I totally liked, and the way in which he admires and adores his friend, how he's trying to learn a lot of things from him, and he's like mostly used to him right now, that while Sherlock is saying some things, he's sure that they are all totally legit, because before the words come out of Sherlock's mouth, they have gone through like 1,000 filters and then only come out. So his friendship with Sherlock was something which was very pure and beautiful to read about in this one. Also, in most of the short stories, we get the time period is after when Watson is married, and how understanding his wife is with him while he has to cooperate with Sherlock, and the dangers that are actually surrounding him when he's working with Sherlock, okay? He doesn't care about the dangers at all, because he knows that if he's with Sherlock, he'll definitely have a great time and the adventure. That's the part which excites him the most. Also, his knowledge of medicine is something which was properly put into use in this one. He starts practicing again after the Sign of the Four, and the way in which his medical knowledge is also made use of while developing each and every short story was really well done. I thought that, okay, this medical knowledge is going to not play that much of an importance in any part of the story, but it does play a major role in various aspects. And also, as he's solving many cases along with Sherlock, he has also developed this skill of deducing things, so that was also really fun to read. Moving on to the writing, I loved the writing in this one compared to the first two novels, because it was very much more accessible and necessarily granular and descriptive, okay? Since each and every one is a short story, there's not that much time. It's just like 20 to 30 pages in length, and within that itself, the author has to make you wonder a lot of things. He has to make you guess how the case is going to end up, but also trick you so that you do not surpass his wit. At the same time, he also has to develop the friendship and these two characters individually. All those things were like super extremely well done in this one. I said that A Study in Scarlet and The Sign of the Four are not suitable for beginners, but this one is highly suitable. Even the language is not that difficult. If you're used to reading at least like short books, I'm sure you will enjoy reading this, and it will also be super easy to read. And for all those people who are watching this video and putting this on your TBRs for the rest of the year, I'm sure you're so much more lucky than me, because this is a book which is totally perfect for the monsoon season, okay? I'm sure in a few more weeks we are going to have like some really heavy rains consistently, and put this on your TBR starting from September to December. It will definitely be worth the time, okay? I'm just a little bit sad that I read this a bit earlier, and if I had started this in like August or September, that will be the time when we have rain starting in Tamil Nadu at least, and it would have been perfect for the season. It's okay, I still have 3 to 3.5 more books to read, and it's definitely going to be there on my TBR for the rest of the year, and I'm definitely going to read and enjoy them. So it is super perfect for the monsoon season, and if you just want something cozy, interesting, as well as something which will keep you on the edge completely the whole time, please do read it, because it is just so excellent. Now, talking about the setup for all the 12 short stories is London itself, and there is something about London which I just love. The setup and the atmosphere of that place, each and every story actually occurring in London, is something which just draws me in and keeps me within that atmosphere very easily. If you've been following me regularly, you know very well how much I love the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and of all the series, my most favorite when it comes to setup are the Infernal Devices and the Last Hours, because they also happen inside London, and that weather and that atmosphere that London provides for series like this one itself is really unique, and it is just so cozy, okay? While I'm saying cozy, I'm not saying that it is going to be so happy to read all the time. It does have some dark twists and turns because it is a mystery series, right? And definitely they are dealing with some criminal cases, which means there are going to be some dark things which we are going to deal with while reading the series. And the amount of darkness is subtly given. It's not like overpowering and makes everything feel less and make us feel uncomfortable. It's just to the perfect amount that there's this amount of coziness, but also there is like a little sense of unease which you completely feel while you're like nearing the end of each and every short story. That is something which I enjoyed the most. Finally, talking about the pacing in this one was super fast. Okay, I did not get bored while reading any of the 12 short stories. Each and everything has a different ending, and also it is not like each and every case is properly closed and sealed at all. We do have some open threads which I think will be explored a lot more in the later stories in the series. I'm not sure though. Even if they are left unfinished, it is okay because it feels a lot more not natural then. While I thought that it has only 10 short stories, but when I saw 12 short stories and it's not even that long, just 320 pages long, I thought that okay, it's not going to be that impressive, but it is an awesome installment, a perfect switch from the first two novels if you ask me. Also, another thing which I wanted to tell you guys is that I was simultaneously listening to this on audio. I had this Audible credit through which I bought the complete Sherlock Holmes collection narrated by Stephen Fry. If you don't know, Stephen Fry is an awesome narrator, okay? He has this very beautiful British accent which he uses to narrate, and if you've not listened to Stephen Fry's audiobooks, especially his Harry Potter audiobooks, please do go forward and listen to them because they are just so awesome. He's an awesome narrator, and the way he dramatizes each and every character is really, really beautiful. I listened to the entire thing while reading it physically on audio also simultaneously. It was an awesome experience, and I think that I'll be continuing on with the same for the rest of the series also because I just loved his narration style a lot, and it felt a lot more realistic to me rather than just reading it with my own voice in my head. So I'm going to continue on with it. If you're not able to guess by now, I obviously rated this one 5 stars and it was totally up my alley. So yes guys, that's all for today, and if you did find this video useful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel because I publish new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.